I mean, him more than like anyone. That's not true. There's a lot of people in FILA. I mean, like Mark was my biggest, inspiration for me because he kept pushing me, and he's like, you can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So yeah, so just older, like upperclassmen when I was really young, and Eric Zamora, who I totally disappeared off the face of the planet. I don't know what he's doing.
We're in a bridal party together.
Yeah. So Eric Zamora was the president of MK when I was a freshman. So yeah, just older people who went off and did amazing things. So yeah.
What kind of law are you guys interested in practicing?
Well, right now I'm doing mostly civil. I do like estate planning, which is writing wills and trusts, powers of attorney. I also I do a lot of my volunteer work with voluntary legal services is basically anything in the book, because people call voluntary legal services with all kinds of different legal problems, and we have to figure out how to help them. So it's mostly also all civil, though. We don't really do criminal stuff. But what I'm really interested in is, civil rights work, like language access stuff, equity in education, things like that. In law school, though, I don't think a lot of people know this when they're in undergrad, but it's pretty much set what your curriculum is every year. What classes you're going to take is pretty much set. You only have maybe 1 or 2 electives a semester, or everything else is like you have to take torts and crim law your first year, evidence and civ pro first or second year. Last year is like business associations, and, I don't even remember, remedies. So just know that you have a lot of your curriculum is set, because that's the stuff you're going to be tested on the bar exam. So that's what you have to learn.
Yeah, this year I didn't pick any of my classes. They were like, here's what you're doing. I was like, okay. But I guess just based on, I've done a couple. There's a bar association in Northern California called FBank, and if you're interested, you should check them out. But it's Filipino Bar Association of Northern California, and they do a couple immigration clinics, and so I did one, and I just shadowed an attorney and did like intake, and that was really interesting to me. So maybe that, but I just finished my first year, so I feel like I'm still exploring. But I did get to take an elective my second semester, and it was youth law, and I actually found that really interesting. It's like dependency law, which is, if you have a minor who gets removed from their home, and what is the best, what is within this child's best interest? Should they go back to their family, or should the family give them counseling? And then delinquency law, which our professors jokingly referred to as baby jail. It's like, it's basically like criminal law for minors. It's like, okay, well, they did this, and what do you do? And I thought that was really interesting. And they had we had a dependency law judge come and talk to us, and he had such an interesting backstory. And I don't know. So maybe that I'm still exploring. So.
How important is attorney shadowing and stuff as an undergraduate, or internee?
I think it might be important, but I think it might be more important to shadow a law student and see what a day in their life is like. You can probably hook up with law students at King Hall, because just seeing what they go through and going to classes and going to the library and things like that, I think would show you whether or not law school is for you. Listening to the lectures that you get, that you have to listen to, seeing them get questioned by their professors, it'll show you whether or not it's something you think you could do. If you can, I don't know if you guys have free time, but do like Kelsey did and work in a law firm, maybe as a legal secretary, a file clerk, or anything, just to get exposure to a law office to see if it's the kind of work environment that you think you can see yourself in. That would be good, even if it's just a little part-time job that you do once in a while. For me, when I was an undergrad, I actually worked at the law school in their alumni relations office, so I had exposure to the law school ahead of time.
I shadowed a law student at King Hall, and it was really simple. It was like, I think I posted a Facebook status one day. It was like, I would love to shadow and 3 people Facebooked me and were like, my friend is a 1L at King Hall or a 2L at King Hall. Do you want me to like hook you up with them? And it was really simple, and I was like, yeah, and I shadowed this 2L, and I went to 2 classes with him, and I thought they were really interesting. You know, the first one we went to was, I think it was criminal procedure, so Crim Pro, and then the second one we went to was Wills Trust and Estates, and the Wills and Estates one was a little dry for me, but it was also, I was working for a Wills Trust and Estates attorney, so a lot of it was making sense, and then the Crim Pro one was super fascinating to me, but yeah, definitely just observing, like, you know, professors in law school don't wait for people to raise their hands, they'll just pick on you, and just seeing that and just seeing how they worked and getting his experience, that also definitely, I think the first time I sat through a lecture, I was like, oh, this is so cool, like I could do this. And yeah, so definitely I would say shadow a law student. Harold?
Going back earlier to what you guys were talking about GPAs and stuff, based on your personal experience and your academics at undergrad, do you regret being so involved in the fil-am that it took away from some of your studies?
No. Not at all.
But just try to, I mean, we're warning you ahead of time to just balance it. I wouldn't not be involved, I would just try to, I would have balanced it a little better maybe for me. Yeah.
Balance, but I mean, you only get right now to be like 18 to 21 doing undergrad, so I mean, you have to make the most of it.
Yeah, when you're out of college, all you're going to do for a few years is talk about college.
Yeah.
So live it up while you're here.
Yeah, because law school is not like undergrad.
No.
So, like, continuing that balance thing, what kind of stuff do you do for like, stress management?
Like currently?
Or during law school?
Oh, what did I do? Because basically you're always studying, right? So it is a lot of like, you have to take like a computer break, like internet break, like catch up on gossip on the internet. That's what I would do, go on to Facebook. Or if you're one of the type of like to study in the library, it's always good to just get up and go for a walk. That's what I would do mostly, is just get up and go walk around. Because you can't really do much else, because you really do need to study and just always be near your books most of the time. We would also, after class on the weekends, like after a Thursday class, we'd go down to the, there's like a bar down the street from our school, and we just get a drink. And there's still a little time to hang out, but not for long, but just to unwind.
I mean, I trained myself to do this thing where I would do focused like blocks of studying, where I'd be like, for the next baby steps, like for the next 45 minutes, I have to either read, or I have to be outlining, or I have to it has to be school focused though. Like I have to do something for 45 minutes, and then for that last 15 minutes, I reward myself by okay, Facebook, or like I get up and walk around, or just take a break. Yeah, so I mean that really works for me, is doing focused chunks, and then setting aside a little bit of time, or I would take a break, and then I would, for me, I like talking, so I would call. Both my best friend and boyfriend are in medical school, so I would call them because they would need study breaks. And be like, what are you doing? Talk to me for 15 minutes. And that was helpful. Having people, who are equally stressed out as you, or, I don't know, my other law school friends, just let's take a 15-minute break. And yeah, there's a bar right behind our school, so for us, it's we had a class this last semester that ended Fridays at 2:30, so 2:30, let's all go get a beer, so just little things like that. And for me, I exercise. I try to run whenever because I can feel it, you know, like, because all you do is sit for like hours and hours and hours, so I would try to, and like, just like run for half an hour or something.
A lot of the de-stress in law school is also just talking about law school, which is kind of weird. But you just talk about your classes and how much they suck, or how much you didn't get that case that you just read, or you know, ask each other advice on what they think is the rule in the case and things like that. And that really helps a lot too, to know that some people are going through the same struggles that you're going through with the curriculum. You're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, because sometimes you read a case and you're like, I have no, and then, you know, you talk to someone and you're like, so what'd you think about that last case? And they're like, oh, I didn't know. And you're like, oh, thank God, I didn't know either.
This one's more for Janine. What helped you prepare the most for the bar?
So I talked about how I was super involved in undergrad. When I was in law school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on my studies, right? It was like my bigger thing. I was like, this time I'm gonna be study focused. And so a lot of people in law school, they slack off and they don't read all their cases all the way, or they get supplements that like brief the cases for them, which I think is lazy. I never did that. I read every single case in law school, which is a lot of reading. But I think that really helped me when it came to the bar exam, because you just know everything. You're so prepared because you've read every case, you know every law. So, and I outlined every single class. A lot of people don't outline; they like take someone else's outline and then they just use it. The process of making my own outlines is what helped me study. You know, finding the laws and writing it in my own words is what helped me remember the law. So when it came to the bar exam, I knew every law. Like I can't do it anymore. But around the time of the bar exam last year, I knew every single law. If you asked me, top of my head, I could tell you every rule that you could think of. And it's just, you really have to, during studying for the bar exam, okay, I graduated in May, and then the bar's in July, so you don't have that long to study. You basically gotta go into a cave and not hang out with anybody. I deactivated my Facebook and my Twitter and everything, and people like called me or texted me to come hang out. I was like, no, I'm studying. No, I'm studying. And they'd be like, boo, you suck. I'm like, I'm sorry. You'll see me after I pass the bar. So that's basically, you have to be really focused. If you have to stop everything else. Some people try to work, still work and do other things while they're studying for the bar, and I don't suggest that at all. You should when you're studying for the bar, that's all you should be doing. No working, no like going to events or anything like that. It's just the bar basically 24/7. If you really want to pass it the first time and not have to worry about taking it again. So.
What's the pass rate?
Huh?
Do you know what the pass rate is for that?
It's low. I think only this past time, gosh, I could probably look up on my phone, but I think it's always around 50%. So it's really hard. It's a hard test to pass. It's a 3-day test.
What?
The bar exam is a 3-day test. The first day, in the morning, you have 3 essays. They're an hour each, and then you have a lunch break for an hour. And then in the afternoon, you have a performance test, which is basically like writing a brief or writing like a paper that you'd be writing as you're an actual lawyer. And you get 3 hours to do it, which is insane trying to, they give you this big old pack of documents, you have to read through it and just pull everything together and write a like 10-page paper within 3 hours. That's the second pass. And the second day is multiple choice, is which is you think the writing's hard, but the multiple choice is even worse, because you guys think multiple choice is easy, not for the bar exam. They're trick questions. Every question is a trick question, right? You have to really pay attention to every single word in the question, because one word will throw everything off. And that, I think it's, 100 in the daytime, 100 in the afternoon. And that's the second day. And the last day is the same thing as the first day. 3 essays in the morning, and then the performance test in the afternoon. So it's very vigorous. So if you think you can do it, do it.